Hello and welcome to Daily Dose Radio, a 5-minute-a-day podcast studying the Psalms verse by verse, recorded here in the dining room of the Bible Bistro, located in Sharonville, Ohio. Hey there, friend. Welcome back to Daily Dose Radio here in the Bible Bistro. I'm so glad you've joined me today. I was thinking about what we talked about yesterday with all those 10 enemies that are listed there in Psalm 83. That's where we are this week. And today we're going to look at verses 9 through 12. But I just want to go back and think about those enemies for a minute and ask a question. What gave them the right to want to destroy Israel? What gave them the right? Did they have a right? I mean, besides the right that they created in their own minds, that for whatever reason they didn't like Israel, they didn't like what they did, how they worshiped, they didn't like whatever. What right do they have, besides one that's self-created, to go in and to punish, to destroy Israel? Did they have a directive from God to do it? No, of course they didn't, because this is God's own people. They said, let us cut them off from being a nation. Well, who made them a nation? God made them a nation. Remember when he brought them up out of Egypt, there in Deuteronomy chapter 6, he calls them a nation. He formed them into a nation when he called them to be his people. So if God's the one that started the thing, God's the one that's going to have to end the thing. And he has not told any of these people, none of the 10, has he told that they can do something to Israel. Certainly not to Edom. Certainly he didn't say anything to the Ishmaelites. He didn't say anything to Lot's boys, Moab or Ammon. None of that. And the Assyrians, well, they're just, they're outside the whole scope of the picture. You see, they don't have any kind of warrant from God to do what they're doing. That's the way the enemy always operates. They act like they have a right. They act like things are all wrong. But ladies and gentlemen, they have no warrant from the Scripture. They have no warrant from God to act and to behave in the manner in which they're behaving. So is the same with your enemy. He has no warrant to do what he's doing to you, except for the license that God gives him to afflict you, and that does happen. God does allow the enemy to afflict us, and so here, apparently God had allowed these folks to join together to afflict Israel, but it was only for their good, and so it is with us. When the enemy afflicts you, it's only for your good. He has no warrant, no right whatsoever to do what he's doing to you as a son or daughter of God. No absolute promise, nothing. No ability, except that he's created something in his own mind and in his own heart that he thinks gives him the right to do it. Well, after the Selah, we have another bunch of names. These come straight out of the Scripture. Look at verse 9, and I'll read 9 through 12. Do unto them as unto the Midianites, as to Sisera, as to Jabin at the brook of Kishon, which perished at Endor and became as dung for the earth. Make their nobles like Oreb and like Zeeb, yea, all the princes of Zebah and as Zalmunna, who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of God in possession. So we have a whole other group of people here that are mentioned, but these are people that tried to do exactly what this group in 4 through 8 want to do. Exactly the same thing. The Midianites, Sisera, they wanted to destroy Israel. Oreb and Zeeb and Zalmunna and Zebah, they all wanted to destroy Israel. So you go back to Judges chapter 4, look at Judges chapter 6 with the Midianites, Oreb and Zeeb in Judges chapter 7, Zebah and Zalmunna in Judges chapter 8, and then we have another little birdie that's listening in on their conversation and reports to us here, and of course that little birdie is the Spirit of God. He's telling us what they said. Let us take to ourselves the houses of God in possession. What right or warrant did they have to do that? Did God tell them to? Nope. Didn't tell them to do that. Couldn't do it. These are not theirs. God has given these houses to them and this possession to them by promise. And so they have no right whatsoever. And so the psalmist, knowing this, writes in this psalm, Don't keep silent, O God. Come and do to them like you did to the Midianites, to Sisera, to Oreb and Zeeb and Zebah and Zalmunna. Do to them just what you did to those guys, because they wanted to do the same thing, and you judged. Don't keep silent now when this confederacy of 10 want to come in and destroy us. All right, my friends, let's look tomorrow at verses 13 through 15 here on Daily Dose Radio. Thanks for listening to Daily Dose Radio. For more fresh and delicious Bible studies, podcasts, books, and more, check out the Bible Bistro online and on YouTube. Join me again next time for Daily Dose Radio.